Welcome once again to my weekly webcast. Congress is in session on a weekly basis now until Easter, when we'll take an Easter break. Most of the time that I have these webcasts, I invite you to send in your email. I'll soon be answering a couple emails that's been sent in by some of you over the past week. I usually take you to different places around Capitol Hill, but today I want to tell you things that I do in this town very closely connected to my job that I do off the hill. In other words, downtown, usually at some hotel. Recently I had a chance to address the National Farmers Union. They're in town on an annual trip to tell their respective congressmen what's most important to them. And this support that they're giving to biofuels, mainly ethanol and biodiesel, is welcome at a time when somewhat biofuels are under attack by people that want to blame farmers for running up the price of food because we use part of our corn and soybeans for fuel. I also had an opportunity to give a speech to a group that deal strictly with tax-exempt organizations. You might call them nonprofits or foundations or endowments or all the above. But I have been involved in a 7-year investigation of nonprofits to make sure that they're spending money according to the intent of the people that it was given and for the purposes of the organization. So I've suggested legislation, and I spoke about that legislation, but I also had an opportunity to compliment them because there's been an awful lot of self-correction. Most importantly, boards of directors of each nonprofit organization doing what boards of directors are supposed to be doing, but in many cases not doing, and leaving it up to the paid personnel and maybe having misuse of money that's donated or actually stealing of money that's been donated. And we have a responsibility to maintain the credibility of the tax exemption, and that's what my effort was all about, and I spoke to those points at their convention. I also spoke to a group of medical device makers. One of the things that I've been involved in legislation is called sunshine legislation. In other words, the public's right to know. In this case, if your doctor is getting speaking fees or other consulting fees from either a pharmaceutical or a medical device manufacturer, I don't want to make those things illegal, because sometimes that sort of expertise is very important to getting the job done, to getting things invented, to get new drugs on the line. But if you're a consumer of those drugs, your doctor has an interest in a pharmaceutical company, you need to know about that. And so this would require all that information to be made public on the internet so it's available to everybody. This week in the United States Senate, we're continuing work on the appropriation bill that will fund government for the rest of this fiscal year. It's a big 8% increase, and I could not support that. So I voted against it. I voted a lot of amendments to change it. Every amendment was defeated because the Democrat leader had a foregone conclusion from his members that they were not going to accept any Republican amendments. So much for bipartisanship. On the other hand, this 8% increase is probably too much at a time when the Democrats seem to be taxing too much, spending too much, and borrowing too much. And I don't often give political partisan shots, but I think this is legitimate because this is what we have seen develop in this new administration. Yes, Republicans are responsible for the inheritance of a $1 trillion debt. But since the new president's been in, there's been $1 trillion added to that debt during his administration in a short 2-month period of time. Now I go to questions from Norma and Linda Sioux Center. Did you support the spending bill? I just got done saying no, I did not support the spending bill, and why I didn't support it, so I won't repeat that. The second question comes from Tom at Manchester. Why was it stressed over and over again that the stimulus package didn't have any earmarks when less than a month later the Congress is considering a bill full of earmarks? Well, Tom at Manchester, that's the bill I just referred to and why I voted against it. I said I voted against it because of an 8% increase in spending, which is too much at a time of big budget deficit. But it also contains $7 7/10 billion that add up from over 8,000 earmarks. Another reason to vote against it. The stimulus bill did not include earmarks. This did. And I guess the only way I can tell you is one did and one didn't. And you would think that a party that ran on a program and being elected to a majority in 2006 to do away with earmarks, and they did do away with earmarks for 1 year, you would think they'd keep that promise all the way through several more years that they're in power. But within 1 year, we were back to earmarks. And that's one of the things that's wrong with this appropriation bill and why I voted for it. So I invite you to email me again next week, and we'll be back next week with another webcast.